Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 1. Shri Shukha Uvacha Evam Etam Nigaditam Prishtavan Yadvavan Mama Mrinam Yan Riyamananam Manusheshu Manishinam.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Maharaja Parikshit, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the intelligent man who is on the threshold of death, so I have answered you.
Text 2 to 7. Brahma Varshacha Kamastu Yajita Brahmanaha Patim Indram Indriya Kamastu Praja Kamaha Prajapati Devim Mayamtu Shri Kamas Tejas Kamo Vibhavasum Vasu Kamo Vasun Rudran Virya Kamo Ta Viryavan Anadya Kamasva Ditim Svarga Kamo Ditihi Sutan Vishwan Devam Raja Kamaha Sadhyan Samsadhako Vashyam Ayus Kamos Vino Devam Pushti Kama Ilam Yajit Pratistha Kamaha Purusho Radashi Lokamataro Rupa Bhikamo Gandharvan Strikamo Prashara Urvasim Adhipatya Kamaha Sarvesham Yajeta Paramestinam Yagyam Yajit Yasas Kamaha Osha Kamaha Prachetasam Vidya Kamastu Girisham Dampatyartha Umam Satim.
One who desires to be absorbed in the impersonal Brahm Jyoti effulgence should worship the master of the Vedas, Lord Brahma or Brihaspati, the learned priest. One who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king Indra, and one who desires good progeny should worship the great progenitors called the Prajanathis. Mataji, can you please scroll up? One who desires good fortune should worship Durga Devi, the superintendent of the material world. One desiring to be very powerful should worship fire, and one who aspires only after money should worship the Vasus. One should worship the Rudra incarnations of Lord Shiva if he wants to be a great hero. One who wants a large stock of grains should worship Aditi. One who desires to attain the heavenly planets should worship the sons of Aditi. One who desires a worldly kingdom should worship Vishwadeva. And one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship the Sadhya demigod. One who desires a long span of life should worship the demigods known as the Ashwini Kumaras, and a person desiring a strongly built body should worship the earth. One who desires stability in his post should worship the horizon and the earth combined. One who desires to be beautiful should worship the beautiful residents of the Gandharva planet. And one who desires a good wife should worship the Apsaras and the Urvashi, society girls of the heavenly kingdom. One who desires domination over others should worship Lord Brahma, the head of the universe. One who desires tangible fame should worship the personality of Godhead, and one who desires a good bank balance should worship the demigod Varuna. If one desires to be a greatly learned man, he should worship Lord Shiva, and if one desires a good material relation, he should worship the chaste goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva.
Hare Krishna, text 8. Dharmataha utamashlokam tantuhu tanvat vitrinyajit raksha kamaha punya janam ojas kamo murun ganan.
One should worship Lord Vishnu or his devotee for spiritual advancement in knowledge and for protection of heredity and advancement of a dynasty. One should worship the various demigods.
Text 9. Rajyo kamo manum devan nirtim tva bicharan yajit kama kamo yajit somam akamaha purusham param.
One who desires domination over a kingdom or an empire should worship the Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons. And one who desires sense gratification should worship the moon. But one who desires nothing of material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Text 10. Akamaha sarvo kamova moksha kama udaradhi Tivirna bhakti yogena yajita purusham param.
A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead.
Text 11. Etavan evayajatam iha nihreya shodayaha bhagavati achalo bhavo yad bhagavata sangataha.
All the different kinds of worshippers of multi-demigods can attain the highest perfectional benediction, which is spontaneous attraction, unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by the association of the pure devotee of the Lord.
Text 12. Jnanam yadapra tivrita gunarmi chakram atma prasada utayatra gunisha sangaha. Kaivalya samata patastvata bhakti yoga ko nirvito hari katha shuratim na kurya.
Transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves and whirlpools of the material modes. Such knowledge is self satisfying due to its being free from material attachment, and being transcendental, it is approved by authorities. Who could fail to be attracted?
Text 13. Shonaka uvacha iti api vartam raja nishyam bharatar shabaha himanyat prashtavan bhuvyo vayashakim rishim kavim.
Shaunaka said, the son of Vyasadeva, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, was a highly learned sage and was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaja Parikshit again inquire from him after hearing all that he had said?
Text 14. Etachu Shru Shatam Vidvan Shutano Rashi Bhashitum Katha Hari Katha Darakaha Satam Shihu Sadashi Dhruvam.
O learned Sutta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us because we are all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees.
Text 15. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pundarvyeyo Maharataha Balakran Kridana Kahi Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade.
Maharaja Parikshit, the grandson of the Pandavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity.
Text 16. Vayashakischa Bhagavan Vasudevam Parayanaha Urugaya Gunadaraha Satam Shur Samagame.
Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, son of Vasudeva. So there must have been discussion of Lord Krishna, who is glorified by great philosophers and in the company of great devotees.
Text 17. Ayur Harati Vaipumsam Udyan Astam Chayan Aso Tashyate Yakshano Nita Utamashloka Vartaya.
Both by rising and by setting. The sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all good personality of Godhead.
Text 18. Karavaha Kim Vanti Pashtraha Kim Na Sharshanti Uta Nakadanti Na Mahanti Kim Grame Pashavo Pare.
Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen?
Text 19. Svavid Varahashta Kare Samstutaha Purushaha Pashuhu Nayatkarna Patapeto Jatu Nama Kadagrajaha.
Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, the deliverer from evils.
Vilebat Rakrama Vikamanyi Nashravataha Karma Uto Narashya Jivasati Daru Ive Sutta Nachapa Gayati Urugaya Gate.
One who has not listened to the messages about the prowess and marvelous acts of the personality of Godhead and has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs about the Lord is to be considered to possess ear holes like the holes of snakes and a tongue like the tongue of a frog.
Text 21. Bhara Parampata Kriti Jasatam Api Utaman Gananame Mukundam Savaukaranu Kurite Saparyam Hari Lasatkanchana Kankanova.
The upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavy burden if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom, and the hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, are like those of a dead man if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead Hari.
Text 22. Parhayite Nayane Naranam Lingani Vishnurna Nirikshato Ye Adonrinam Tao Drumajanma Bhajo Chitrani Navarachato Hareyo.
The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his forms, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock, and the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered are considered to be like tree trunks.
Text 23. Jivanchavo Bhagavatan Gririnum Najatu Mrityu Vilabhita Yastu Shri Vishnu Padyay Manujastu Lashyaha Shvasan Chavuyastu Navedam Gandham.
The person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing.
Text 24. Tadasmasaram hridayam patedam yadgrayam nirharinamadeyahi na vikrayeta yada vikaro nitra jalam gatra ruhishu harshaha.
Certainly, that heart is steel framed, which, in spite of once chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration, does not change when ecstasy takes place. Tears fill the eyes and the hairs stand on end.
Text 25. Athabide anau angamanu nukulam prabhashase bhagavato pradhanaha yadaha vaideshyikiratma vidya visharado nrittatim sadhu prishtaha.
O Sutta Goswami, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please therefore explain this to us as it was spoken by the great devotee Shukadeva Goswami, who is very expert in transcendental knowledge and who spoke to Maharaja Parikshit upon being asked.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Thank you.
And his passing away to the kingdom of God is also unique. Hare Krishna.
So this is the passing away of Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev is also well known for his
Hare Krishna, Mataji, you're on mute.
Oh, thank you so much. I beg your pardon. I spoke so much there as well. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My name is Nandarani, and I've been asked to cover verses 12 to 14 this evening. So when we look at verse 12, it states transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves and whirlpools of material modes. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachment and being transcendental. It is approved by authorities who can be attracted. Can I just ask everyone to be muted? Thank you. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that he cites the Bhagavad Gita 10.9, and that is Majjita Madgata Prana Bodhyanta Parashparam Katyantascha Mam Nityam Tushanti Cha Ramanti Cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted in my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So the key things that are going on in this chapter, first of all, we open up with, if you want some great material benedictions, then we are given an extensive list of the different demigods who we can worship and according to our desires and the respective results we can get from that. But then it changes very quickly to really about, a devotee of the Lord doesn't want temporary material gain. And we begin to understand that unless we're worshipping Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, the devotee of the Lord doesn't really want material enjoyment. That's the bottom line. So it divides the two. Those who want material enjoyment worship the demigods, and then those who want to have association of the devotees of the Lord, who want to serve the Lord, who want to remain at the dust of the feet of the Lord, and who want to be enlightened in terms of conversing, remembering the Lord, his form, his pastimes, his glories. Then the characteristics of those devotees are really focused on transcendental devotional service. And Prabhupada says that the devotees of the Lord are 24 hours a day engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly merged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing with him discussing him with other devotees. So we get a very clear indication in this verse and purport that if we want to be thinking about the Supreme Lord, of course, we need to be thinking about the Lord 24 hours a day, but also in engaging in discussions, pleasing discussions with other devotees. So I'm going to ask you to perhaps write down in the chat, how do you yourselves, because this is about sharing with each other, how do you try to remember the Lord 24 hours a day? So please, you can, those of you who don't want to write, you can just put your hand up and we can share some good practice here. We don't have anything in the chat yet. Anybody like to say something? What are great ways how we can share to be thinking about the Lord 24 hours a day? By listening to his katha, Subhadra, Radhika. Shabani, did you want to say something?
Yes, Mataji, just like Krishna, Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada told us that Krishna said that I am the taste of the water, Arjuna, I am the taste of the water. So in this way, when we are drinking the water, like, so we can remember Krishna, like it's a water, and the satisfaction that we feel after drinking the water, when our thirst is quenched, that satisfaction is Krishna. Like in small bit, in our daily routine life, we can think of Krishna in many ways. Like one of the example is this water. Correct me, Mataji, if I'm wrong.
No, that's absolutely wonderful. I can't cite where I was reading this, but a couple of days ago I was reading, I think it was something to do with King Chitraketu. And Srila Prabhupada was saying that, unless we're really, like if we're really ungrateful people, we will wake up not remembering, not having gratitude to the Lord for water, for the sun, for the moon. So what you're saying, Shabani, is absolutely spot on, that, in every day, in everything that we're doing, the devotee of the Lord sees the Lord present in all those things. So as you said, the water, the drinking of it, the use of it, the bathing, we use water. We can't even survive without water. So that's a great response. So thank you for that. Yashwini, you said by chanting the Lord's names, by listening to his katha, Sumatra. Gaurangi, you said prayers to Krishna and remembering him. Yes, thank you. Sumatra, you're saying by serving the Lord day and night. How do you serve the Lord day and night, Sumatra? Can you just give me a practical example of how you do that?
Yeah, sure. At night, you put the deities to rest. So you put the night dress on them, you put them to rest. In the morning, you wake them up and you offer them daily aarti and incense and flowers. And then you offer them fruit, water, leaf, and offer them something to eat. Then dress them up.
Thank you, Sumatra. So you've just shared a very valuable understanding for us that deity worship is one of the most critical aspects of developing a personal relationship with the Lord. So from what you're saying is that your whole day is around serving your deities. Thank you for that.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Jolie.
I didn't change my name, Janukanya.
Janukanya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. How I remember the Lord, every morning I get up 4:30, 5 o'clock and I chant with a group. And sometimes I tell myself the night before, I'm going to have a lay-in tomorrow. But something happens. Krishna doesn't allow me and I don't allow myself. And I don't even need a clock now. I wake up same time every day. And unless I'm not well, I'm held back a bit. But I think that is the highlight of my day. And throughout the day, it helps me to remember Krishna, because I do not want to get up in the morning sometimes, but I have to get up and do his breakfast. And I don't want to keep him waiting. And in fact, he also calls out and say, I don't want to wait any longer. So I have conversation with Krishna and he tells me what he wants. So there it is, it's on a plate for me. And it helps me enjoy my whole day, because every time I think of him, if I'm in trouble or if I'm not in trouble, he remembers me all the time. He's there for me all the time, behind me. He's like my little body over my shoulder.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that share. How about those who are working? How do you think of Krishna in other activities? Don't be shy.
Hare Krishna. It helps to think of the people around you as Krishna's servants or Krishna's children, because I work with children, so it's easy for me, I suppose, to just see them as Krishna's children, that you're serving them. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Gaurangi. So you're seeing the Lord within their heart? Is that what you're saying, that the Lord is present in them?
Yeah.
And
also
how
I
do
have
you...
a password that's Radha Krishna on my computer.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Let's come back to the children. So what is it about the children that reminds you of Krishna?
I think it's quite easy because they're very pure and they're very innocent and they just say what they think. So in a way, it's very, very easy to see the soul in them, you know what I mean? Yeah, and when they're all in a group together as well, they just do their thing, and it's just really nice to see. In a way, it's lucky because children, they just act like souls. They're not too held back by their ego yet. So yeah, it's nice.
Thank you, Gaurangi. And
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
How do we, when we see the children, we should thank Krishna because they are a gift to us sent by Krishna. Even we're working with them, we are seeing them, or we are taking care of them, or we are the parents or grandparents. We should know that these are a gift from Krishna and we should take care of them. That's how we connect them to Krishna.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So you're both looking at the positive aspects of children, but what about, and I was going to ask Gaurangi this question because you're a teacher, that what about when it's challenging with adults and children? How do you see Krishna in that situation?
So if there's any challenges, you can sort of see that, you know, they're troubled, they need your help. So again, it's a service to Krishna. And if anyone is sort of, you know, stressed or something at work, I just sort of try to remember that, you know, that their soul's going through their difficulties, you know, they might be being passive aggressive because of the stress that they're facing. That's with adults.
Thank you for that. So that's a lovely way of seeing Krishna through that eternal loveliness of the children, but also when they're, as you said, going through the challenge. Thank you for that. I was thinking about Canto right at the beginning, Canto 1, and it begins with the prayer in verse 2 about, let's see if I can just find it. Dharma Purjita Kaitavo Tra Parmo Nirmasaram Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapa Trayo No Mulanam Srimad Bhagavata Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Parar Ishvare Satyor Hite Avatyate Tra Kritabai Shushpresh Tat Shanta Shana. Well, it's not as great as some of the reciters here, but I hope you'll bear with me. Here, when the sages are asking the questions and in terms of establishing the Lord within one's heart, it states that by completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in the heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of other scripture? So right at the beginning, it states, because we've just opened up the chapter with, you know, if you want anything material, we heard that if you want to go into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, then you worship Brahma. If you want powerful sex, then you worship Indra. If you want sense gratification, you worship Chandra, the moon, and it goes on. But here we understand that those who are intelligent completely reject all religious activities which are materially motivated. So later on, Srila Prabhupada even states in Canto 3, Chapter 19, verse 35, the killing of the demon Hiranyaksha, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that even an animal can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service. He's now referring to Gajendra, whereas the demigod cannot approach the Supreme Lord unless he is a devotee. So we should really, from this verse, really get clear, and from this chapter, that if we have any desires, any material desires, we should try and just relinquish them in order to be attached to the feet of the Lord, but also the association of devotees. So two things here really. You know, let go of in order to let go of your material desires, associate with the devotees of the Lord and worship the Lord. So let's go back. Let's go. How does one do that? And in verse 12, let's look at verse 13. Yeah, verse 13, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, a pure devotee for the Lord automatically develops all godly qualities. Some of the prominent features of those qualities are follows. So how do we do that? How do we get the taste for the association of other devotees and also worshipping the Supreme Lord? And that is by developing qualities such as kindness, being peaceful, truthful, equable, faultless, magnanimous, mild, clean, non-possessive, a well-wisher to all, satisfied, surrendered to Krishna without hankering, simple, fixed, self-controlled, a balanced eater, sane, mannerly, pridelessness, grave, sympathetic, friendly, poetic, expert in silence. So out of these 26 prominent features of a devotee as described by Krishnadas Kaviraj in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the qualification of being poetic is especially mentioned herein in relation to Sukadev Goswami. The presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam by his recitation is the highest poetic contribution. He was a self-realized learned sage. In other words, he was a poet amongst the sages. So we can only overcome our desires when we have these godly qualities. And Srila Prabhupada says godly because all divine qualities come from the Lord. It is not, divine qualities are not material, whereas sometimes other material qualities or other anarthas, they are material, but this is, it's transcendental. So that is the way we can actually have attraction to the Supreme Lord. Now, what are the gains of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead rather than the demigods? Can anybody tell me? What are the gains when we worship the Supreme Lord rather than the demigods?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
When we worship the demigods, it's like we get the benefit. Yes, we get it very fast,
Yeah.
but it's temporary, and we just roam around in this material world. We go in the circle of birth, old age, disease, and death, and we come back. And then we also happy getting all these material benefits that we don't think about the soul. We don't think about the Lord. So if we think about the Lord and we don't pray for material benefits, we pray for our spiritual benefits, then we go directly to Lord Krishna. And we cannot go directly to Lord Krishna unless we take a guru. And then we get the association of devotees. Then we go to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, thank you. Exactly. The as you've said, Indulekha, the gains are eternal compared to the short term, which are material. And you've said through the spiritual master. Okay. So what are the similarities between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadev Goswami? Does anybody know what the similarities are between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadev Goswami, and what's the difference?
Hare Krishna Mataji again. They are both liberated souls. And because like Parikshit Maharaj, he has met the Lord when he was in the womb of his mother. And Sukadev Goswami, when he was born, he didn't want to come out of the womb unless the Lord Krishna himself came and assured him that don't worry, Maya's not going to catch you. So both of them were they were like not attached, even though Parikshit Maharaj was a great king. He was not attached to the kingdom and family because he gave it immediately as soon as he knew that he was going to die in 7 days. And Sukadev Goswami, as soon as he took birth, he left the home. He ran away to the forest. Even the father was calling for him from behind. He did not turn around to see his father or remember the house until the father sent some of his disciples to recite the verses of the Bhagavatam he heard in the forest. Then he came to learn, and then again he was roaming around the world without any clothes, without any attachment. And Sukadev Goswami also was very detached. Parikshit Maharaj, similarly, he was also very detached.
Thank you for that, Indulekha. Yes, absolutely. They were both great devotees of the Lord. They were detached. They both worshipped the Lord. The distinction between Maharaj Parikshit was that he was a great devotee and he was liberated through hearing. And Parikshit, Sukadev Goswami, was full of transcendental knowledge. And therefore he was glorifying, and Maharaj Parikshit was obviously liberated through the hearing. Now, Srila Prabhupada says in an analogy, the men like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses move door to door for applications of service, or those who have no discrimination matter of foodstuffs eat all sorts of rubbish compared to hogs. Even he describes like the thorns of, when the camel are eating the thorns, and they don't realize that thorns are piercing their tongues, and just the taste of the thorn and the fresh blood, the foolish camel thinks, oh wow, that's such a great taste. Similarly, great business magnates eat thorny results of their actions mixed with their own blood. So in this age, humans engaged in works of asses are futile endeavors. So we also begin to understand that this chapter is also telling us about letting go of anything material that doesn't serve us. Of course, some of us have to work, but here Prabhupada is saying not to over-endeavor, because that will get in the way of putting time aside for reading and chanting. Then Prabhupada, as we read earlier, the descriptions, does anyone remember the ear holes are like what? And what is the tongue like when one isn't, one doesn't have the taste for hearing about the Lord? Does anybody?
Yeah, the
like
hole is
frog.
like
It's like
like
frog.
a hole of a snake, and then the tongue is like the frog who is calling for the snake to come and eat it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that. So the bottom line is that when we're hearing the pastimes of the Lord and the deeds of his devotees, we can derive extreme transcendental pleasure. And some of the ways that many of you have said is, Shabani, you explained through, a devotee of the Lord cultivates the ability to see the Lord in everything. Shabani, you said through water. Gaurangi, you said through the children that you work with. Indulekha Mataji and Janakuna Mataji, you talked about through your, your desires and worship of your deities. Sumudra, you talked about through your deities. So that is absolutely the way forward in terms of associate. So in terms of developing our relationship with the Lord, can I ask you all, how do you derive pleasure in associating with other devotees, and how does that happen in your life? Because we're reading it, so we want to know how we do it practically. Anybody?
Hare Krishna Mataji. We derive pleasure as soon as we see a devotee, because we are like we can say at the same level sometimes. I mean, when we see a non-devotee, yes, because they are human beings, they have the Paramatma in their heart, yes, we feel happiness. But when we see a devotee, we get the greater happiness, because we are going to share, to talk about Lord Krishna. And then here, Shravanam Kirtanam again comes, and all that we will be discussing is about the Lord, be it decorating the Lord, making flowers for the Lord, arranging for the hall, or doing cooking, serving, or doing deity service, anything pertaining to the Lord, that will give happiness. If we
Thank you,
give
Yeah, thank you for that. That was very powerful. We should start off first feeling very pleased to see the devotee. What about anybody who hasn't contributed today, who hasn't said anything? Tell us, how else do we associate with the devotees, or how are you doing it that you can share with us?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
It is like we are doing now the Sangha program, associating with devotees.
Okay. How often do you do that?
Every day, yeah. We are doing the Sangha program, every day.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And how has that changed you?
Yeah, well, you think differently, you know, when you read Bhagavatam, your thoughts changes, you know. When you think about other material things, you know, you worry something, you know, you bring back to yourself to Bhagavatam, you know, what we read about or we, you know, learn about it, you know. So then you feel better. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else who hasn't spoken, how you associate with devotees?
By doing service.
Thank you. I was hoping somebody would say that. Well done, Priti. By actually serving other devotees. Absolutely. And how would you do that, Priti, if you don't mind me asking?
Like on Sunday, if you go to help out in the kitchen, you're basically cooking for other devotees. Then in Goshala, you can go there and help out the devotees, because there's a lot of work to be done in Goshala as well. That way, you're helping other devotees and it's helping you with your spiritual progress.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Priti. So on that note, I'm going to stop now with ending with text 14, where the discussion carries on. Oh, Sonika Rishi is speaking to Sukadev Goswami. Oh, Sutta Goswami. Oh, learned Sutta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us, because we're all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees. Of course, Lord Hari takes away all suffering. Whenever we're looking for something material, even if it's from the demigods, the counter side of that enjoyment is that there is always, it always comes with some kind of suffering. Whereas when we're undertaking devotional service to Lord Hari, he completely removes all suffering within our hearts. So thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions or any comments before we close? Okay, thank you so much. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanabhyo vaishnavabhyo namaha. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.